everyone, this is Peak Entertainment and we're back again, and here now we have another video for you, and this will be some thoughts on the recent movie One Battle After Another. Now the film itself was released earlier this year on September the 20th, 2025, starring Leonardo DiCaprio, Sean Penn, Benico del Toro, Regina Hall, Teyana Taylor and Chase Infiniti. It was directed by Paul Thomas Anderson. Now the story itself is firstly set around the late 2000s, where we follow a group of revolutionaries known as the French 75 who attack various political offices and banks and other establishments. Whilst raiding an immigration detention centre, one of the most prominent members, Preferia Beverly Hills, encounters a law officer named Steven Lockjaw, who is instantly attracted to her. Now Preferia later begins a relationship with another main leader named Pat Calhoun, and we see the two eventually have a baby daughter together. Yet the continued involvement within the revolutionary group causes fractions in their relationship. Sometime later, Perfidia is arrested during a robbery and is entrapped by Lockjaw to give up other members of the French 75 in exchange for her freedom. Lockjaw spends the next several years tracking each member down, and Pat has to go into hiding whilst protecting Perfidia's daughter named Willa. Now 16 years on from this, Lockjaw continues his hunting down of the French 75, especially as he ascends to join the ranks of a secret powerful white supremacist group. Fading into obscurity and addicted to alcohol and drugs, Pat soon has to spring into action as both he and his daughter Willow's life are increasingly under danger. Now going into this release, there was much hype around the reception of this film, and it has been touted as one of the best films of 2025, which sadly isn't saying much, but for me overall it was a big disappointment. And I think the most part is down to the film itself being overall an inconsistent mess, both in terms of its storytelling and pacing, and it's never really sure of what exactly it wants to be or what it was trying to say. And it starts off really bad in its first act, where it's very hectic and chaotic, both in terms of its editing and its storytelling. It throws out all of this supposed commentary around immigration and interracial relationships, and then later on throughout the film we get much more of this quirky crime comic caper, and these elements just don't mesh together very well. The story just limbers on at an erratic pace, with so many long and protracted scenes and sequences and character moments that just don't carry the impacts that the film think that they do. And this is yet another example of so many films within the last couple of years where we have this supposed prestige contemporary adult drama that gets hyped up to all sorts of levels as being the movie of the year or the best movie of recent times. And these type of stories throw all of these themes and commentary and subject matter. It just ends up being self-indulgent and pretentious, not knowing exactly what to do with all of these ideas that it's throwing on the screen. I refer to recent examples such as the likes of Honora, Poor Things, and most recently with Eddington. And all of these movies just ended up proving to be a frustrating viewing experience. You can see the potential of a good film in there, but it just gets eaten up in so much bloat and once more indulgence and overplay. Yes, the movie once more was very appealing to much more esteemed critics and fans, mainly because it's Paul Thomas Anderson, a director who, for me personally, I'm still very mixed on when looking at his overall work. He still hasn't managed to hit the heights of Boogie Nights, released way back in 1997. But here, he just doesn't manage to deal with all of the elements as well as he previously did with that film. Now, he was given a far bigger canvas here, whether we go from the reported $150 million budget. I'm really not sure why this movie cost that much at all. I understand actors such as Leonardo DiCaprio would have warranted a high salary, but still, that level of money for what is very much a character-driven story just didn't hold up. The 2 hour and 40-minute runtime easily could have been trimmed down by 45 minutes or so, and this would have given the film far more urgency and tension. Now, to be fair, it does achieve this to an extent with the climactic car chase as we see Willa fighting to survive and Pat is searching for her, but that sequence is not enough, especially as we look at the sequence of events that takes place in order to reach that sequence that really border a lot more on coincidence and convenience. Now, as mentioned before, we had an esteemed cast of actors involved and all of them performed fine, I would say. The main standouts for me were probably Leonardo DiCaprio as Pat and also Benicio del Toro as the karate teacher who aids him in his escape. A very unlikely setup, again, keeping in tone with the movie. We then look at Sean Penn, who overall I think is a strong actor capable of very intense performances, and throughout his career he has an accomplished filmography with certainly some standouts when we look at the likes of At Close Range, Carlito's Way, and also Casualties of War. But here in his role as Lockjaw, I'm not sure whether it was a miscasting or just a misdirection or misjudgment in terms of the character. For the most part, this personality really borders on self-parody, much more of a comedic villain rather than a serious antagonist. And at times you really can't take him seriously in terms of a main character. And this again just feeds into, I believe, overall the movie as a whole really being a big wasted opportunity when again you consider the likes of the actors and director involved. Cinematography looks absolutely fine, especially again towards the climatic moments. We get some nice looking landscapes of the long open roads, and Hans Zimmer's score certainly does carry the film at times, if not as per usual, it's overused too much. Now overall, in terms of the release, One Battle After Another was a decent success, I would say, managing to gross over $200 million worldwide at the box office. Again, we, as usual now, have to throw in the caveat of that huge budget of $150 million. Again, very unnecessarily. The film was praised indeed for many of its performances, and there was a lot of credit again to Paul Thomas Anderson. Some people putting this as some sort of modern day masterpiece. For me, the movie is nowhere near that. I just think it's another sign of the modern times where there's been so much debate and scrutiny and bemoaning of the continued involvement in terms of superhero movies and sequels and reboots and remakes. And yes, we could argue that One Battle of Another is a standalone original script or idea, and that's really what we want to see more of. Yes, of course. But despite the fact that it's new or indeed a non-sequel or franchise IP, we still shouldn't give movies a pass because of that. We have to judge them with the same criteria as always. And for me, the likes of this type of movie really just seems like they're just overplaying the fact that they have such an established cast and they feel that's enough to justify whatever misdirections and tangents that they go over. And once more, I think the overall description that I would keep going back to for this film is that it is overindulgent. It overplays its hand too many times, throws too many ideas and themes out there without really making an important or integral message as to what is going on. And sadly for me, One Battle for Another didn't really have much to say afterwards. It's definitely not a film that I would deem as one of the best of the year. In fact, I'd go in the other direction saying that it's probably one of the worst, and definitely wouldn't want to see it warrant any type of main Academy Award nomination or win. So there's my overall thoughts and feelings when looking back at One Battle After Another. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you have any other further movies, television series, or any other topics within the pop entertainment and culture scene that you'd like to see me cover within the channel, then also let me know in the comments, and I will see if I can provide further commentary for you on that subject matter within the future. Please also hit like the subscription and notification buttons so I can provide you more high quality content like this in the future. But that's it for now. Take care of yourselves, and I will see you very, very soon.